Hello, everyone, and welcome to the webinar. My name is Jess Larkin, and I am the Marketing and Communications Specialist at Cornerstone. As you know, I'm the host for the Build Your Brand series and your go-to gal for all of your marketing questions. I want to help you build a brand that's focused on growth. For our webinar today, we are joined by Kelsey Rink from 2060 Digital, as well as Jason Budzik, to discuss social media and how you can leverage it in 2021. But before we get into that, as per usual, we have a little bit of housekeeping. My information is right there on the screen if you'd like to get in contact with me. Also, be sure to give us a follow on social media. We post industry and Cornerstone updates and information, so go to Facebook, LinkedIn, Twitter, or YouTube to give us a follow. I have some great news that I can finally share with you after so long. Cornerstone is now offering a full-service marketing consultation program where I can take a closer look at your existing marketing strategies and resources, help you establish realistic and measurable goals and objectives for your brand, and help you create a step-by-step plan to help you optimize your brand and take it to the next level. So some of the services that I offer, they're on the screen there. I can do brand audits, social media management, print marketing, email marketing, onboarding kits, and so on. Also, all brokers participating in this program are going to receive a free brand evaluation workbook, which helps you work through exactly what your vision statement is, what your mission statement is, what your value proposition is, and so on. So if you're interested in taking part in this program, you can contact me today and we can discuss pricing and exactly what it is that I can help you with. So go ahead and give me a call. Let me put my number back on the screen for you. If you'd like to contact me about this, just you can either send me an email or you can give me a call. All right, now I'm going to hand it off to Kelsey Rink. Take it away, Kelsey.
Hi, everyone. I am showing my screen here.
Yep, looks good.
Okay, so I am a digital brand strategist with 2060 Digital, and I also have Jason Budzik here with me. He's an account executive with 2060. Here is our contact information. If after this presentation you have any questions, please feel free to reach out to us. Okay, so starting off with kind of a why social media. What you see here is our customer journey funnel slide that we talk most of our clients through when we're putting together a recommendation on digital advertising for them. Social media, as you see, fits right in the middle of that customer journey funnel. So we love to leverage social media in particular because it's a place where not only can you get lots of brand awareness and lots of reach, get your brand in front of the eyes of others, but it's also a place where you can capture lead generation and conversion. So it really functions in the middle of that customer journey funnel like you see here. Whereas when you're leveraging other types of advertising, such as pay-per-click or YouTube, you're really polarizing at one end of that spectrum. So social media is a great middleman in the sense that you can both advocate for your brand and capture interested parties all in one platform, which makes the ease of social media so great. So by the numbers, insurance agents are using social media predominantly on Facebook. So with Facebook, LinkedIn, and Twitter, Facebook tends to be the more social, as I'm sure you're aware if you have a Facebook page, of the three platforms. So Twitter, while very engaging and interactive and quick, lots of upkeep with a Twitter account. LinkedIn being predominantly used for job related, job finding, job sharing, more professional information. Facebook is going to prove to be more of a place where you can reach the consumer in their, day-to-day activities. So then jumping into Facebook being the top media still used, there are 1.82 million people active on Facebook. It's the largest social media platform. With Facebook, there are 74% of all US adults on Facebook on a daily basis. So again, just looking at the amount of reach and the number of people you can engage with on Facebook, definitely a top performer. The average person spends more than 1,000 minutes on Facebook each month, and the average user accesses Facebook 5 times per day. So when you're thinking about, again, getting in front of that consumer and reaching them where they are, Facebook is a great choice. Sorry about that. So seniors, reaching an older demographic, ages 55 and older. 71% of Cincinnati adults 55 and older have been on social media within the last 30 days. So making it the most popular internet activity among the tri-state seniors. So the other platforms that you see here include Google, Facebook, Yahoo, AARP, and Pinterest. But again, just really reiterating the fact that Facebook is that platform that you want to be on. So how do you Facebook like a pro? The first tip and trick to being a consistent Facebooker is to make sure you're scheduling your posts. And that's something that a lot of people maybe are overwhelmed by the thought of Facebook initially. So there is some upkeep, right? There is time and effort that goes into making sure you are keeping your page updated. I know Jessica mentioned at the beginning that she offers social media management services, so something that definitely you could take her up on. But I think, you know, one of the things to really Facebook like a pro is to make sure that you're being consistent and scheduling out your posts in advance. It does not have to be, you know, a super lengthy endeavor. You can, you know, sit down for an hour and schedule all of your posts for a month. And by connecting with Cornerstone on their social media posts, you can pull some of that content they're pushing and cross-share it to your page, which is also important. With social media in general, you know, I think one of the biggest issues we see with client pages is they will create a Facebook and then never do anything with it. And you don't want there to be a stale Facebook page. Essentially, people are leveraging Facebook much like a Google to go learn about businesses and you know, providers. And so if your Facebook page is empty, that doesn't bode well for your campaign. So definitely recommend being consistent. Again, 1 to 2 posts per week really is sufficient. You don't have to, you know, post every single day of the week, but getting out there on a consistent basis is very positive for your brand. I recommend using a platform such as Buffer, especially for a beginning, you know, Facebooker, if you will. Buffer allows for you to create a free account and will help you manage that content calendar. Again, you can get in and schedule posts months and months in advance. They could then cross over to your platform seamlessly. And that allows for you to, you know, dedicate maybe an hour to 1 week of the month to schedule long-term for your page. So Buffer is definitely a platform that I recommend you check out. Again, it's free for posting to Facebook. I think it allows 1 platform free, but super user-friendly, easy to navigate, and definitely a way for you to create a more professional experience on Facebook. The second tip for you is stay cohesive in your design and in your brand. So with Facebook, and I'm sure that you have all seen Facebook pages that are not visually appealing. They aren't cohesive. They don't tell a brand story. So definitely something that you want to do is keep consistent, right? Throw your logo on different pictures that you're sharing. Include the same type of tone in your voice. Be consistent. One of my favorite examples of a brand voice is the Wendy's Twitter account. If you've not seen that, I definitely recommend you check that out. But finding again your design, your voice, leveraging your logo on all of the things that you're posting. And one way to do that is by leveraging Canva. So another free tool, and even their paid version is only $12 a month. Canva is super user-friendly. It lets even non-designers such as myself feel like a really talented graphic designer because it is so user-friendly. So by leveraging Canva, you can really create a consistent, cohesive brand, which again just elevates your company and makes you feel more professional. So creating that cohesion will definitely put you in the right place. I would also recommend avoiding any kind of pixelated images. That's another pretty common issue that we see on Facebook pages of our clients. You want to have clear images that speak to your brand. And so Canva allows for you to also access all kinds of stock images, stock photography. So you are able to pull that down for free, which I definitely recommend. Again, leveraging video and images on Facebook is the most important. Those types of posts, rather than very lengthy text posts, are what work the best for Facebook. So recommend, again, engaging with Canva, making a cohesive creative brand. And then also narrow your focus. Do one platform really well. And I see this very often where, there are all kinds of social media platforms, right? There's Instagram, Twitter, LinkedIn, Facebook, Snapchat, TikTok, all of these different platforms. And a lot of times brands will try to spread themselves too thinly across multiple entities. And so really, I recommend doing one thing really well rather than doing, multiple things very poorly. And so by narrowing your focus into that mid-funnel Facebook channel, you can really elevate what you're doing and engage with your audience. Every platform has different requirements, right? So some people fall into a trap of, I'm just going to cross share everything from my Instagram to my Facebook to my LinkedIn. And while you can do that, it's definitely not what we recommend. Every platform should have a very unique twist to how you're engaging with that audience and what that type of post looks like. So by focusing in on one platform, such as Facebook, you can, really hone in on that audience and have it engaging and not stretch yourself too thin from a time commitment standpoint as well. So social media management from an agency standpoint, this is what our social media management slide looks like when we're going out and meeting with prospects. And so these are the types of things that you have to think about when you're thinking about leveraging and maintaining a Facebook page. So first, and like I've mentioned, you have the content creation phase. So that's where you're going in and you're scheduling your posts, you're working on what are you going to be sharing, right? And I think that a lot of people can find this very daunting because there is a lot of mundane repetitiveness to social media, especially when you're trying to keep up with 3 to 4 posts per week. That's why I don't think it's necessarily important to post that often. I think doing 1 to 2 posts per week, just so that you're regularly engaging with Facebook, will do you well. And so that content creation, you have to think about both created and curated posts. So when you think about your audience, you need to think about who you're speaking to. What kinds of things do they want to learn? What kinds of things would be important to share with them? Maybe you're hosting a webinar or some type of an engagement. Maybe there is some news coming down as far as regulations. All of those things should feed into what you're wanting to share with that audience, right? You want to be educating, informing, inspiring people on social media so that they are getting value from what you're sharing. And I think that that's another thing that clients often miss the mark on. You should always be asking yourself, what is the value that my audience gets from this post? So I know that, we might all love a happy Friday, picture with a dog eating pancakes, but really, what value does that bring your audience? Don't spend your time coming up with fun, quirky posts if there's no value to be added. So that's my recommendation on content creation. I'm going to skip over paid advertising and save it for the last. Listening and responding. So this is another avenue in which we find a lot of errors by our clients. By participating in social media, you are being just that, social, right? You are inviting in audience members to participate in a conversation. And so listening and responding to comments and engagements is really important. Just as you wouldn't want to have a Facebook page with no posts, you don't want to have posts with no responses and no engagement. So, asking questions in the content that you're posting is wonderful, right? Asking people to participate and engage with that content is super meaningful for you, for them, But when people start to respond and share their opinions, you need to engage in that dialogue, right? Engaging and commenting back, even with reviews. This is another thing that we see a lot of people kind of missing the mark on. When people are taking the time to review your business, which is definitely one of the upsides of Facebook, right? By somebody sharing that they've worked with you and that it was successful, they are more likely to refer, and referrals are a huge opportunity in this space. So when people are reviewing your brand, you should at minimum give that review a like, right? Engage with that, tell them that you have heard what they're sharing. Again, that helps your people know that you're actively managing that page. Graphic design also speaks to the Canva rant that I went on about how important it is to have a cohesive brand, and how important that graphic design is into having a successful Facebook post. Again, you don't have to have a graphic design degree to find a clean way of presenting, nice graphics. I cannot recommend Canva enough for that type of work. Sweepstakes and contests. So this is a little bit harder for someone who is new to social media, because there are a lot of rules and regulations around sweepstakes and contests. So I don't recommend just diving in and doing giveaways on your page. Definitely read about the legal ramifications of those types of engagements on Facebook, but they can be a great way to, again, get a lot of engagement, a lot of eyes on your company's page by doing some kind of a giveaway or a contest. Again, there are some regulations in place, so definitely read up on those before diving in head first. But again, just a nice way to add to your content calendar, a unique way of getting in front of individuals. Along those same lines, asking the audience to share things with you. So I'm sure everyone knows, but dogs and babies do really well, right? So asking people to share pictures of their pet, participating in a National Dog Day or a National Adopt a Pet Day, those types of things are always going to lead to a lot of engagement. Now, again, going back to my earlier statement about you want to make sure that it is adding value. I don't recommend doing those types of posts all day, every day, but doing it once a month to really drive that high engagement is a way to increase your chances of being seen by new folks on Facebook. And then video, like I said, video content does really well. And video on Facebook doesn't have to be super professionally produced anymore. With an iPhone, you can capture a really strong video, and that more organic looking, self shoot of a video can do very well, and you can upload that directly into Canva, drop your logo on it, and have a well-produced video with very minimal effort. Video, you're able to do more with video than with a single post, right? So you can tell a story with that video more so than you could with a static image, and so that's why video does so well. You can go into more complex detail via video and not worry about having too long of a texty post on Facebook. And then finally, circling back to paid advertising. So I know I've talked a lot about how, content calendars and scheduling your posts and having all of this content out there is really important. And it is, right? Having regular organic posts are super important. And so there's a difference between paid advertising and organic posting. And everything up until this time, I've been talking about organic posts that you can do on Facebook without any cost to you. And for anyone that's somewhat familiar with social media, I'm sure you've heard about algorithms, right? And so the algorithm allows for Facebook to prioritize your message to other people's newsfeed. And unfortunately, Facebook is a paid to play space when it comes to business Facebooks especially. And so while yes, having high engagement and doing those occasional pet posts or surveys or sweepstakes will help leverage, it helps tell Facebook, this page is something that people are interested in. Look at all these people commenting on that. That is definitely important, but it really is a pay to play space. And so paid advertising is a super important piece to Facebook, because you want to not only reach your followers, right? The people that have opted into liking and following your content, but you also want to reach out and get in front of people that have maybe never heard of your brand before. And so Facebook allows for you to advertise within their platform. Again, you can build add graphics directly in a platform like Canva. You can build it directly inside Facebook as well. There is some creative support within Facebook, but leveraging those paid ads is important because you want to get in front of that new audience. There are ways to refine your reach, make sure you're getting in front of that target audience for you. But Facebook paid advertising is definitely a key component to building your brand and getting in front of new people. This is more so important if you're looking to leverage Facebook as a lead generation tool. So if you're comfortable just having a business page and treating that more like a Google My Business, where people might come and get your address or your phone number or your email, that is definitely an option. But in order to really capitalize on the lead generation tools available through Facebook, you would need to run paid advertising. So just something to keep in mind when you're thinking about how to leverage the platform. So once you've built your Facebook page, there are a couple of things that you should be taking into consideration regarding, how good and accurate is your page. So this is an example of a social media audit that we run on all of our prospects. So you'll see here on the left-hand side is an old screenshot of our Facebook page. But some things that you want to check. So is your Facebook page verified? This is a step for businesses. I will not lie to it, it's not the easiest thing because you have to provide Facebook with a lot of documentation about your business. But having a verified business just will allow for your page to do better on Facebook. Do you have a Facebook pixel installed? So a Facebook pixel is a piece of code that you place on your website that allows for Facebook to capture data of people visiting your site. This is super relevant if you're planning on running any advertising because you will want to capture data so that you know who's coming to your site and stay in front of those people after they've left. Paid strategy, meaning, have you ran any Facebook ads? Yes or no? Is your profile picture and cover photo optimized? And this is another area that we see a lot of people not optimizing their profile picture and cover image. So with a Facebook profile picture, you see here on the left-hand side that it's a circle. So you want to make sure that whatever logo you're using or image you're using fits nicely within that circle. You don't want things to go outside of the circle, or maybe somebody can't even see the entirety of the picture unless they click on it. You don't want that. You want everything to fit nicely in that circle. And then in the cover photo, same thing. So you see here, the cover photo is this rectangular box that says right people, right message, right time. Now you see how the pictures kind of go off the page. That's okay because your overall message is right there in the center. If that right people, right message, right time was shifted to the right or shifted down where it was being cut off, you would not want that. So just keep that in mind. Again, these little things that add up to having a really professional looking Facebook page. Organic post frequency, so that goes back to the number of times that you are posting per week. Again, I think in your industry, I would recommend a healthy response would be twice per week. I think having two posts go up per week, maybe 1 week, on a slow week, sure, but then making sure that it's consistent. So that consistency, takes time, but will pay off in the long run for the engagement and the number of people seeing your posts on Facebook. And then the primary type of content. So this is referencing back to photos, videos do much better than lengthy text posts. So making sure that you are, leveraging a variety of posts, but predominantly in that image and video space. And that doesn't mean that you just post a picture, right? With Facebook in particular, having some copy accompanying that picture is important. Again, asking questions, engaging with your audience, all great ways to build that engagement. User reviews and comments addressed, that goes back to that listening, responding that I stressed, and then the number of Facebook followers. So with Facebook, because of the algorithm, yes, you want to have Facebook followers, but because it is a pay-to-play space, I definitely don't recommend, fixating on the number of followers that you have. It is very much a vanity metric. It's great to see when you have a lot of followers and engagement, but really, you're always going to be wanting to reach new people. And so yes, Facebook followers are important, but you're always wanting to grow that audience as well. So I'm going to pause for a second, Jessica, if that's okay, and see if anyone has any questions for me so far before I jump into more information on paid advertising.
Yeah, absolutely. If you guys have any questions, go ahead and type them into the question box. I do have a quick question for you on paid advertising. How much money would you recommend using as your budget? I get a couple questions like that on exactly how much, because you can kind of set the budget however low you want, but how much money do you really need to spend in order to actually reach a lot of people and get some leads?
Yeah, absolutely. So, two things. Reaching people and getting leads are very different metrics, right? So, you can reach a lot of people for not a lot of money. I think the bigger thing to look at is your daily budget. So, when you are setting an amount, like you can run a week-long campaign for 40 or 50 bucks and reach a ton of people on Facebook. So it can be very inexpensive. Now, the type of ads, and that's getting in here to this next slide, there are various types of ads that you can run on Facebook. And admittedly, conversion ads, which are going to target people who Facebook knows to be more likely to go to your website and take action, are more expensive than just a generic reach ad. So there are different types of ads that you can choose in Facebook. Lead generation, where you actually capture name, email, phone number on Facebook, that is the most expensive ad type. So again, by most expensive, you set the budgets. So it's just going to not go as far, right? So those leads might cost you $2 per lead. And so your $5 a day doesn't go nearly as far as $5 toward just general reach, where you could reach thousands and thousands of people per day at that $5 mark with a reach campaign. Does that answer your question, Jessica?
Yes, it does. So I got another question about the legalities associated with communications in the Medicare arena. So I have run ads in the Medicare area for once or twice, and one of the things, and Kelsey, you can correct me if I'm wrong on any of this stuff because it was kind of trial and error. One of the things that I ran into was when I put together my ad, the form that I attached from Facebook to the ad would auto-populate. So if somebody were to click on the ad and go to the form, their information would auto-populate and it would send to, whoever was managing those leads. If you're in the Medicare arena, I would not use that form or kind of make it so that that doesn't do that, because obviously you need your consent to contact before you actually contact them. Does that make sense, Kelsey?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, so that's a problem that most Medicare agents will run into.
Yeah, and admittedly, there are a lot of changes coming to data collection in especially the Facebook space. So we've been managing this rollout of iOS 14. I'm not sure if anyone has heard of this, but Facebook is shifting from an opt-out model to an opt-in, meaning that all of their users at some point will be prompted to say, are you comfortable with Facebook collecting data on you? And at that point, I believe things like what you're describing, Jessica, could potentially be disabled anyway, because they really are trying to avoid situations where people don't know what they're opting into. They really, again, going to an opt-in versus an opt-out model means that user has the ultimate decision on whether or not they're going to share information with advertisers and businesses. That has not happened yet. It was supposed to have happened in February, then it was supposed to have happened in March. Now here we are at the beginning of April, still just kind of waiting for that ball to drop. There's a good chance that it does disrupt advertising momentarily. They did this once before, and I'm not sure if anyone remembers this on their devices with geographic data, not necessarily with Facebook exclusively, but the iOS 14 update is coming down from Apple, and so apps were asking people to opt in to allowing geographic capture, so tracking our locations. And there was a large exodus of people that started saying, no, you can't track my location. Kohl's, you don't need to track my location all the time. And then what happened was there was this mass exodus of being able to target people by geography. Advertisers got very nervous. Obviously, applications started to lose revenue from being able to sell that data. And so then user experience started to change. And so then what would happen is apps would alter their experience so that you had to share that geographic data in order to have optimal experience. As the consumer, then you decide, okay, is it worth me sharing my geography and having a better user experience, or am I okay sacrificing user experience to protect my geographic data? And so I kind of anticipate that being similar to what happens with this opt-in to data collection, because realistically, these platforms do make money off of our data, and I don't think it's a bad thing that we're able to target and get in front of the right audience, because you wouldn't want to have poor user experience. We all are looking for more seamless engagement. So sorry, that was a little bit off topic, but kind of related, Jessica, to your question.
Yeah, so kind of right now, until those changes are made, it's kind of just make sure you know what you're asking of your prospects.
Yes, definitely. And always allowing for the opt-in, right? So on any, and this is outside of Facebook, but any email communication, allowing for people to opt out of receiving messages. Anytime you're collecting data on a form, having a checkbox where you say you are agreeing to receive messages from XYZ company, that will help keep you protected and make sure that those lead captures know exactly what they're signing up for.
Okay, awesome. That was the only question that we had.
Okay, great. So like I mentioned, with paid advertising here on Facebook, it is a native experience within the platform. So the ad is going to assimilate into the newsfeed or into a story or into a Facebook Marketplace location. But the great thing about Facebook advertising in comparison to display or pay-per-click advertising is that it combines both, right? There's text ad copy as well as creative. So you can tell a story visually as well as then support it with text. So with Facebook advertising, there are lots of ways that you can target individuals and get in front of them. So leveraging demographic and geographic data. Again, you don't necessarily, if you're located here in Cincinnati, you don't want to be advertising to somebody who lives out in Denver, right? You want to be able to narrow down to your vicinity and to reach the people within your audience. So that allows for you to kind of restrict where your message is going. Again, when you're thinking about how much does it cost, the smaller your bucket, the further that dollar will go as far as reaching people. Targeting an email database. So this, I don't want to comment on the legality of this one for your industry, but for other industries, we're able to take a list of consumer emails, upload it to Facebook, and then create audiences based on both that email database as well as lookalike audiences that you see here on the right-hand side. So by leveraging email data, essentially what we're able to do is tell Facebook, go find me these people, or go find me people that are like these people. And it uses all of these, micro data points to say, oh, Susie is like Karen, and I'm going to hit both Susie and Karen with my ad because they fit that prime target that I'm looking for. This fourth option, retargeting from website, is what I mentioned with the Facebook pixel. So that's where you can place that code on your website, capture users as they're coming and going from your site, and then stay in front of them with a marketing message. So I'm sure some of you have experienced this, maybe when you're shopping, you go out, you look at a pair of shoes, you do not purchase those shoes, and then later that week, or maybe even the following week, you start to see those shoes in everything that you're doing. That's retargeting, where it's going to stay with you to keep reminding you that those shoes are out there and that you might want to purchase them. So here are some creative examples from the 2060 team. Again, shows you just how different graphics can be. Again, different ways of promoting your brand. This is the work that our creative team does, and they're wonderful. But like I said, you can also achieve, a similar look and feel with a platform like Canva. The other important thing to note is, these are all very different organizations. They have a very different feel. Finding your brand is important. You want to stand out, you want to be different, not only in the services that you're offering, right, and in the way in which you're offering those services, but then how you're presenting your brand to your audience members. So then finally, I will just close here with a little bit about 2060 Digital, and then we can pause at the end for any additional questions. So 2060 Digital, where Jason and I both work, is a full suite digital agency. We're owned by Hubbard Broadcasting, located right off of Reading Road in downtown Cincinnati. We were founded in the social media space. So, we were back on Facebook before Facebook for Business was really cool. And we were growing these large digital followings with our local stations, with the radio stations, Q102, B105, Mix 94.9. And our radio advertisers were taking note and essentially raising their hand saying, hey, you've really figured out this space of Facebook. Can you help my brand with that as well? And that's how we got our start. Over the last 9 years, we've grown tremendously. So we now do a lot more than just social media management. We do everything from email campaigns, like I said, Google pay-per-click, YouTube, display, geofencing, all of the social medias, pretty much anything and everything digital we can support our brands with. We now have over 100 employees, most of which sit in the Cincinnati area, but we do serve 8 other markets that have Hubbard offices in them, but we really support our clients across the US. I know I have clients all the way from Seattle to DC, so really spanning the stretch of the US. And on the Hubbard side, we own 13 TV stations, 48 radio brands, and also the Reels channel, as well as Podcast One. So lots of digital entities in which we are engaged in. And we're always adding more. Just this past week, we added Amazon into our toolbox, and so it's always exciting when we get new types of ad strategies to engage with. Another thing about 2060 and what I really identify as our difference in the agency space is this team of people that all of our clients receive when they sign a contract with us. So Jason, who's on the call, is a marketing executive. I am a digital brand strategist. We always onboard a client success manager and an analyst to all of our accounts because one of the things that we really focus on is analytics and data. We want to make sure that we are sharing the most transparent and up-to-date information with our clients, and we want that to be, unfiltered, right? We want our clients to be able to see exactly what's going on with their accounts at all times, and these 4 individuals really help make that happen from beginning to end of the relationship. So finally, 2060 Digital, again, 9 years of best practices, over 100 employees. We are a Google Premier Partner and a Facebook Marketing Expert Program Partner, which really just says that our team is trained directly by Google and Facebook. We have a client retention rate of 94%. And I think, my explanation to such a high client retention rate is that we really right size our solutions to our partners. So, we have massive brands that spend a lot of money and do a lot of different channels. And we have other brands that are much smaller, that really just do what is right by their audience size. Obviously, you have to grow everything to scale. So making sure that we get in with our partners at the right fit is super important to us. And that really concludes, my spiel about 2060 and Facebook. Hopefully you've learned something. If anyone has any questions, happy to answer those here with the last few minutes.
Awesome. Yeah, if you have any questions, leave them in the chat box and we'll go through those right now. I do have a couple questions for you, Kelsey.
Yeah.
So one question that I consistently get is there are a lot of agents who are not necessarily ready to opt in to Facebook on their own, but they want to explore it for their business. Do you have to have a personal social media account in order to create company-specific pages for your business?
Yes, so that's a great question. Yes, unfortunately you do. Now, as far as what you post on that personal page, what that personal page is titled, you really just have to have a shell of a personal page in order to build a business page. So, it's not saying that you have to create a Facebook page and add all of your great aunts. That is not required. But you do have to have that personal page in order to build business pages on Facebook.
And kind of building off of that, the difference between operating your business from a personal page versus a business page. Can you talk about that?
Yeah, so you cannot run any advertisements from a personal page. So that's really going to be the biggest differentiator there. You will want to have a business page if you are looking at doing any type of advertising. Now, a personal page, it's not best practice to set up a business page as a personal page. If you were around when Facebook for Business was just launching, you might have something like that. Again, I think it goes back to your intent, right? If you are, an independent agent and really who you are and what you're doing on Facebook is captured in its entirety on your personal page, then, do you have to have a business page? No, unless you're planning on running ads. But I think that it begs the question of like, is everything you're posting and doing on a personal page something you would want your audience to see and follow and engage with? I think there is a line between personal and professional that is often drawn. And so I would always recommend having a business page for your business communications.
And just to clarify too, if you have a business page, you can correct me if I'm wrong, Kelsey, but the people who follow your business page cannot automatically access your personal page.
Correct.
The two, they can't tell that the two are linked, so they can't find your personal page just because they're on your business page.
Absolutely, that's right. But
All right.
you also can link them if you wanted it to be very easy to find.
Mm-hmm. My next question is, do you have any recommendations for getting started with a content calendar, like how to actually create one? Do you know of any templates that they can use? What kind of information should they include on a content calendar if they're looking to schedule out their social media and start kind of coming up with a strategy?
Yeah, absolutely. So I think the easiest way is to like think about, okay, first set, how many times a week do you want to post? Maybe it's twice per week. So then you have to get 8 posts out into the world, right, in that month. So then start thinking about the what value are these posts going to add. So maybe 2 of those 8 you want to be inspirational, right? So you kind of mark, okay, these 2 dates, maybe one at the beginning of the month, one at the end of the month, or one at the middle of the month are inspirational posts. Maybe 2 are educational. Maybe 2 are market updates, right? What's going on in the world and what does that mean for Medicare? Then from there, you start to build these themes. Maybe one post per month is about you as an agent and what you want to share, fun facts or engaging information or statistics. And then don't be afraid to replicate those posts month over month, right? And I say replicate those posts, replicate those themes. So you're going to want to come up with new posts, but you can keep kind of that same theme month over month, right? So then again, that takes the guesswork out of what am I going to post on the second Tuesday of every month? Oh, well, second Tuesday is fun fact about Kelsey Day. And so that's the day that I post something, a fun picture from my weekend and, what I studied in college or whatever, fun fact you want to share. Again, I can't recommend Buffer enough. It's so easy. And then you can get in and you can even duplicate them. So like if you have a really great market update on a Wednesday and you want to share it again the following week, it's super easy to duplicate out. So that will help, again, take the guesswork and having those themes, taking some time to identify what those themes might be for your 8 posts per month can help speed up that process, because then you know exactly what you're looking for and exactly what you want to share.
You mentioned duplicating posts. Can you talk more about that? Does that hurt the content that you're putting out if you duplicate posts?
So I guess I wouldn't say it hurts it. I would maybe, instead of just a straight duplicate, right? Where you're taking the exact same content, the copy, and replicating it, you could share the same story more than once, but slightly change the perspective, right? Why is this so important that you're wanting to share it a second time? So just update the copy a little bit to say, in case you missed this, here's what's going on in the market and how this impacts you.
All right. Looks like we don't have any other questions for today. If you have any additional questions that you just can't think of right now, please feel free to email me at jlarkin@crnstone.com, and I can forward those on to Kelsey. And don't forget to register for our other upcoming webinars in this series and in others, including next week's Tech Tuesday with tech expert Tom Levine, and he's going to cover Microsoft Excel. He does this every year as kind of a 101 walkthrough of Excel and how to use it, so I highly recommend you join that. For the next Build Your Brand webinar on May 11th, we're going to be talking about the importance of customer feedback and how you should ask for it. So you can register for those webinars and others on the Cornerstone event calendar at www.crnstone.com. Thank you all for joining us today. You will receive a copy of this presentation in the next day or two, and it'll be available on the Resource Center at www.crnstone.com. Kelsey, how can people get in contact with you?
So my email is krink, RINCK, at 2060digital.com. So that you can always send an email there. My office number is 513-699-5052. We'd be happy to chat and talk about how 2060 might be able to help you as well.
Awesome. And if you have a couple minutes after this webinar, please take a minute to fill out the survey that we've prepared. Your feedback is incredibly important to us, and it ensures that we're continually providing you with value. As always, thank you to Kelsey for lending your expertise. And everyone have a great day and stay safe out there.
Thank you. Bye.